In this K2 Quick Brief, we'll talk about enterprise mobility and we'll look at K2's capabilities around rapid mobile application development. So if you're not familiar with K2, we're a business process applications platform that requires no code. We can do forms, workflow, reports, and data and put these four pillars together to build some really powerful applications. We've got some really solid mobile capabilities. So experience out in the field and talking to CIOs and IT departments, there's some core mobility requirements that organizations are looking for. And these are in no particular order, but they want the ability to build and refine applications quickly without the requirement for custom code. They're looking for solid integration with existing systems. They want to drive workflow and processes with forms or UI on the mobile devices. And lastly, they want reporting and insight on these mobile field-based processes. So I'll give you a little background on the demo that I built for this particular quick brief. And this is a mobile safety application, and it consists of several K2 forms that you'll see rendered on the mobile device as UI. And then once data is entered on the forms, there's some intelligent workflow that's going on in the background. We're going to send emails. We're actually going to do integrations with multiple systems. In the forms processing, you'll actually see information coming back from SQL Server as well as a CRM system. And then as the workflow and process post form continues, we're going to upload the images and show some neat integration with Box. We'll upload those into a Box repository. And then we'll upload the form rendered as a PDF into SharePoint. And then we'll actually assign some tasks, some review tasks. We'll actually do some follow-up tasking that we'll enter on a SharePoint calendar. And then we'll do some follow-on pieces as well. So let's go ahead and get right to the demo. So right now you're actually seeing a mirror of my iPhone, and I've got the K2 mobile application open. And right now it's open in the task pane where I can see actually all my tasks that are queued up within the application. But I'm going to go into my forms repository, and I'm actually going to open up my safety home. And this is actually a K2 Smart Form or UI that I built for this particular application. And I built this for a customer proof of concept. They wanted to get a real simple mobile safety application that was really easy to use on the job site. So in this example, there's actually three options on the home page. You can kick off a safety checklist. You've got the ability to fill out a safety notice if you find a safety violation on the job. And then you've got the ability to actually view all your safety notices that you've submitted, which are held within a SharePoint repository. So let's go ahead and kick off a safety checklist. And you'll go ahead and see this is a K2 Smart Form, and you can utilize the K2 mobile application. These forms are rendered in HTML5, so you can actually open them through a browser and they'd look pretty much exactly the same. Our K2 Forms technology is responsive. So regardless of how you orient your smartphone or your tablet, it'll actually auto-respond and resize the form for you automatically. So in this particular form, I can come in and enter a project. So we'll say we're at the Granite 2 site. And you can see that it saved me a little bit of trouble. It's actually automatically entered the date, my name as the logged in user. And then I can come through and I've got drop downs while I'm doing my inspection. So we'll go ahead and go through a few of these, and I'll slide down to the bottom. I can put in some comments. This was bad. And then I've got the ability here. I can actually enter, when I click the sign button, it's actually going to put signed by me and the particular time that I signed it as well as the date. We do have some ability. You can actually, there's a control where you can actually scribble your initials. So there's lots of different options here. When I go to save this form, I've got some business logic in the back. So if it finds any safety violations in my inspection checklist, it's going to drive me right into another form. So if I click OK, It's going to kick me into my my safety incident form and carry over some information. And now I've got the ability to fill out and create a violation. So we'll say we had a frayed saw cord at the job site. And I'm going to come in here and I've got cascading drop down so I can pick the particular category, so electrical, and then you'll see that the type will actually auto adjust to that. I'm going to go ahead and type in just a few items on the company. And you can see as I type, it's going to start to auto resolve the company name. And this is actually doing a lookup to my CRM system. This is tying into Microsoft CRM, but Dynamics CRM, but you've also got the ability to link into Salesforce as well as anything that we support from a web services perspective. And you can see it automatically looked up the email address for that particular company, and it'll send a notification to that person. I'm going to choose that I have a frayed cord. Let's see, DeWalt saw cord frayed. You can see as I type my information, I'll come in to my due date, and I've got some really nice controls. We'll say that this needs to be fixed by the 16th. I'm going to check follow-up required. This is going to do a couple things in my follow-on workflow. It's going to actually take a different branch within my workflow and auto-create a calendar reminder for me, as well as set up some other information as well. And we'll say this was on the Granite 2 site. And you can see that it automatically read my latitude and longitude. So for those that are interested in geodata, they want the ability to maybe auto plot maps or look at reporting based on that geo information. We can collect that as well. And finally, I'm going to come through here. Let's go ahead and when I click on file, I've got the ability to take a photo, choose my photo library. So pretty much any repository I can upload information from. We'll go ahead here, and I've got a picture of this saw here. We'll go ahead and say done. It's going to upload that image for me. All right. So as that image is uploading, obviously these forms can be customized. We've got a full suite of forms controls that make it really easy to build custom applications and interfaces regardless of what you'd like to be able to do. So waiting for that image to upload. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and click submit. When I click submit, there's a lot of things that are happening in the background. So it's taking an actual snapshot of this form and creating a PDF for me. And we'll go ahead and X out of this form. And now we'll move on to some of the other pieces that we have in the background. Okay, so now I'm going to actually switch to a couple different things. First off, reporting an insight is really critical, especially when you've got field workers. And in a lot of cases, businesses and organizations have to wait for those folks to bring back paper forms or have some automated process that consolidates data. With K2, we've got some built-in reporting controls. So I've got a couple options here. I've actually built a safety portal within my SharePoint site, and I've got some information about the workflow processes that are going on. And these, you can totally customize these. And these are off the shelf, tied into different processes that you set up. You can see I can see my safety reviewers. And these are interactive. I can actually click on any item and drill down into additional data. So if I click on my safety notice process, it'll take me into the live instances of that process. I can see the particular status, what's going on. And here's the one that I just submitted. So you can see today at 5:33, I went ahead and we've got safety notice 20038 in flight. And there's a number of reports that I can drill into as well. This is one of our most popular. This is called a view flow. And this actually shows a visual representation of the path that that particular process is taken. This can be used by the end user. You've also got the ability to have management peer in here and see what's going on. And I can drill into any of these. So if I click on the safety review step, you can see that right now it's in Bob's inbox waiting for him to take action. So I've already sent an email, uploaded the file to Box, put a box comment on the image, and then uploaded the document into SharePoint. So let's take a look at some of that and show you some of the automation. So if I go to my safety notices library here, you can see down here is the particular image that I uploaded for Ace Electrical. And this is actually a snapshot of that form that was uploaded by Bob out in the field, and it's converted to PDF. All right, and this can be attached to an email, can be archived into any doc management system, as long as one of our brokers can support it. All right, so let's take a peek at Box. Let's go ahead and refresh my Box repository. And just to show off the capabilities, you know, I split the documents between SharePoint and Box. We support other types of repositories. You can throw them into a SQL table, these images and documents. Anything that has a RESTful or SOAP-based service with an API we can integrate with and upload. But you can see I did some fancy things here with Box. I uploaded the image. I auto-named the image, okay, with the safety notice workflow number. I actually put a comment. You can see the safety notice for Ace Electrical Services, and I added some of the additional form data. I put tags in, and if I click on it, I've even entered additional information within the metadata set of this particular image. So you can see the lat longs in there, as well as all the information about the image. So now you've enabled that Box repository with all the metadata from the K2 application. All right. So that's just a quick overview. We went ahead, we used that mobile application. We uploaded information to Box and SharePoint. We actually created some additional notices and workflow tasks for users. If you want to see a more in-depth presentation or demo, give us a shout at k2.com. Thanks.